When I first got this and reviewed it, I said the Foresight GC3 was incredibly accurate, easy to use and worth every single penny. But now, after thousands of golf shots, a couple of software updates, and a few surprises I wasn't expecting, my opinion has changed somewhat. So today I'm going to give you the honest truth about my experience with this device over the last year. It is still incredible, but there are some things that have started to annoy me, and I'm going to get into that in the video. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. Please consider hitting subscribe. I am a single figure handicap that's unfortunately going the wrong way, and I've built an awesome home simulator in my garden. Maybe not great now that it's winter, but still. So let's recap the positives of this awesome unit. So first off to say, this is a Foresight GC3. It's not a quad or any of the other variants. This only has the ball data. It doesn't have the swing speed data. That's why it is quite a lot cheaper. But apart from that, it is the same as any other GC3. So accuracy and the trust in the data that it provides. This is where this thing excels, and there is really nothing better than it. It picks up the ball, I would say 99.9% of the time. It doesn't miss a shot. It really doesn't. The only time it might miss it is if you've kind of knocked the ball and moved it just before impact. It's just the best for that. It is the leader. It is the gold standard for data accuracy. And that hasn't changed over the last year. There is nothing different about that at all. It's still a standout positive for this thing. What I really love about the accuracy level on it though is I trust it so much that I can now start feeling in different contacts, different types of shots and different clubs, whether or not, before I even look at it on the data, whether or not it's a good shot. But then getting that feedback of the data, the spin numbers and things like that, it really starts help me working on certain parts of my game. Which leads me on to the second part of this, the built-in screen display. This built-in LCD is so underrated, but so valuable. Because you can get the basic readouts on there. You can get your ball speed, your launch, your spin numbers, all that sort of stuff at a glance. It means you don't need to have it connected to a computer or to a laptop or an iPad. You can just pick it up and plonk it down and start hitting balls. It's so useful for that. I can do it on the course as well. Which also then takes me into the next amazing positive about this, the portability and the ease of use. Yeah, it weighs a few kilos, but I can get it in my bag quite easily. So I can take it out on the course. I can just pick it up with the handle and move it around wherever I want. But also the fact that it's a side-on unit. You don't have to have it, 8-9 foot behind you like some of the other launch monitors that are out there. You just put it down about that far away from your ball to the side. And it's far enough away that even if you hit the dreaded S word kind of shot, it doesn't matter if it squirts off right, it's not going to hit this. So it's so useful and portable in that way. It's just designed. It's really great. That's one of the main reasons I picked this, because I didn't have the space in my garden behind necessarily, but this just goes to the side and I've got more than enough room. Also great on the range too for that reason. You don't always have loads of space behind you, so I love that feature that it just goes sideways on. And lastly, the software that comes with this is just fantastic. It's got loads of options. Now, there is also a downside to the software, which I'll come to in a minute, but the software in of itself is fantastic. You don't even have to have an amazing computer. The way that I generally use it is I use it with an iPad, just a cheap-ish iPad from about 6 or 7 years ago. It literally cost me £25. They generally can be a bit more expensive than that, but you're not talking more than £100. And I just use it to play awesome golf on that iPad. The software you get with this is a free lifetime license on it, so you never have to pay anything more for that. And it's getting better and better all the time, awesome golf. So it's great. But if you do want to take it to the next level, it comes with FSX Live and FSX 2020 as well, which are fantastic. I mean, I use it loads for obviously the stuff I do on this channel. So it's really good. And it gives you loads of statistical data. And it also gives you some really, really graphically awesome golf courses on that software too. The other great thing about the software too is it's got a competition element to it as well. There are leagues and things like that on FSX, and there's also monthly tournaments on Awesome Golf. So for kind of dialing in your practice and having more interactivity and more purpose to your practice, it's absolutely fantastic. Paired up also with the accuracy, it's just an absolute winner. So that's the main positives. Yes, there's many other things I could say that are great about it, but those are the standout ones for me. That the main reason that I bought it in the first place was for the portability, the ease of use, and the software capabilities. That was it. Accuracy also obviously in the mix. The negatives then. there are some negatives. There's negatives of everything in life, and this thing is no different. Yes, it's fantastic, but let's start with the first one, and I've already mentioned this really. It's the cost. This thing costs bare minimum normally around £8,000, which is loads, way too much money for something. It's great, but that's way too much money. Even at the discounted amount that I paid for it, that's still a lot of money. And as I said, I got the ball speed version only, doesn't measure swing speed. That is not unlocked on this. That would cost me about another £2,000. So if I want my swing speed as well, I do have to use my PRGR. This thing, I have to use my PRGR radar to get my swing speed as well. Now the other thing about the cost of this as well, even though you get some amazing software chucked in all part of the cost, if you want to get more golf courses on FSX, not Awesome Golf, FSX, then it costs quite a bit of money. Awesome Golf is great. They keep adding the odd golf course every couple of months, and they're building up their library now with real world golf courses, and that's fantastic. But the graphics on it aren't great, and it's definitely more fun based. Again, not a bad thing. But if you want the really graphically intense, awesome looking golf courses of FSX running on this, then like I say, you have to pay a lot of money. You're looking at a minimum of about £150 thereabouts. Now they do come into a sale period a lot, the software, but you're still, the cheapest I've been able to, I've only bought one course so far because I just don't want to keep shelling out. The cheapest I've got a course is, I think it was about £50, which is about $60 or thereabouts, which is still a lot. That's the cost of a video game, but it's one single golf course. So that's something to factor in. If you want, you know, all the courses like St Andrews, Pebble Beach, Pinehurst, those sort of places, they're premium courses and they cost a lot more. You're looking at about £500 or $600, that kind of ballpark figure, which is loads of money. Even when they're reduced, they're still, we're talking a couple of £100, a couple of $100. Now, coming on to the next problem with this, something that I didn't see coming, and I was a bit disappointed with, to be honest, is the battery. Now, it has a guarantee, the GC3, so it's not been a problem in the end. But it leaves me doubting it slightly, even now, after Foresight kindly sorted it out. I noticed very early on after I got it that the battery charge on this, which you can see quite easily just by tapping that, so it's 64% at the moment, so it'd be interesting to see what it's at the end of the video. It was going down very quickly, but it was taking a very short amount of time to charge up. So that's to do with battery health. And that's the symptoms I had with this after about 2, 3, 4 weeks. So I contacted them and it got sent back. They replaced the battery and now it seems to be all good. But I do find myself checking it a lot now, kind of working out, is it going down too quickly? Has it charged up too quickly? Is there something wrong there? I would have expected better for something that costs, you know, thousands of pounds, thousands of dollars. So I was a bit sad about that. And that's left me kind of with a little bit of doubt. That's just me. I get a bit twitchy about things like that. Obviously, if you've got it plugged in all the time off the mains, it's not going to be an issue for you or me. But as I've said, I go out in the garden a lot. I could run an extension out through my conservatory, and I have done that, but it's not ideal. I just want to kind of put it out there for an hour or two at a time, or if I'm filming, same kind of thing. And I'd expect the battery should last for about 5 to 7 hours. And yeah, I was getting about an hour out of it. Anyway, it's fine for the moment, so all good, but something to bear in mind. So the next problem that I've alluded to, when people swing backwards sometimes and you move into the mat, it means the ball moves slightly. And every time the ball moves slightly, the camera sensors on this have to recalibrate and realign, and it will lose tracking of the ball for a second. So if you do that mid-swing and it's moved slightly on the way back, as you come through into the ball, it probably is still recalibrating and it can miss the shots. Now, part of that problem is alleviated by a good quality mat. I started off with quite a flimsy mat and just using it on my grass outside. Because of the kind of the torque in the swing, as you swing back, I was finding that I was twisting with my feet and my legs, and it was twisting the mat and moving the ball a lot. So pretty much every shot was not getting detected. That's not this unit's fault. That's the mat that I was using. So it is a negative of this, but obviously the way that it works is the way that it works. It can't get around that. So you have to have a decent mat. That is what it is. Luckily, I managed to salvage one that's been thrown out for a pro shop, and it cost me nothing. But they normally, when I mean a good mat, I mean one that you get at the driving range, robust, heavy duty kind of thing, they're going to cost about £200 or £300 for that sort of thing. Okay, you can't get away with using anything flimsy or just like a little pad or something like that. It just will not take it. And again, tied to that, my next issue with this is when you've got it set up, it's great. Like I've said, you put it to the side, but obviously you're going to hit a variety of different clubs and different shots. If you're going to hit driver, you need to have obviously a high tee for it. And that's fine, but you have a limited kind of sense area on this. I'm kind of drawing it out with my fingers now. It's about that kind of size. So it's big enough, but obviously if you've got a tee in there, the whole unit has to be to the right and back of everything. So if you've got a tee there and you put your ball sort of behind it to the side, the cameras will not pick it up because the tee peg is in the way of the sensors effectively. So it's just a little irritation, I suppose. It's not a massive negative. Again, it is how this system works. It takes photos at very high speed, and if there's something in the way of the ball, it can't take the photo. So obviously it's not going to work. But it's just one of those logistical things. You have to get it in a good position where the tee is towards the front of the box, I suppose, and the ball, when you're hitting an iron shot, is a bit further back and the tee isn't in the way. Generally fine, but again, that has become an issue for me because I don't have the biggest amount of space in the garden, so I have to make sure that I've got the mat relatively close to the net. If I've got the tee too close to the net, with a driver, I'm going to hit the net. So again, that's more of a me problem, but if you're like me and you've got the same sort of size, it could be an issue. And no one talks about this stuff, so it's worth raising. 2 more to go. The next one is to do, again, it's a finicky thing. With the touch screen on this, when you're kind of putting it down and just checking it's got Wi-Fi connection, when you drag like I'm doing now, you can see I'm dragging it down to get to the options. When you do that, it's really easy to accidentally hit the right-left toggle of the setup of this. By that I mean, obviously this can be used for left or right-handed golfers, and it's got a setting, really simple one. You just tap R or L, left or right. And when you're pulling down the settings just to check everything's working right, just because of the way that it tends to pick up better in the middle, that happens to be really close to where the left-right option is. So I found early on I was doing it a lot. I didn't realise I was tapping left setup. So when I was hitting balls, it wasn't detecting anything because it thought I should be hitting behind me rather than that way. So it's easy to mess that up. I have to constantly remind myself. Just one of those things. The last one really quick, I've kind of already talked about this. Ecosystem of Foresight is all about money for every kind of add-on, and that does add up over time. If you want to get more courses, it's money. If I want the swing speed data, it's money. If I want to get it integrated with the kind of laser zappers you use on course, a new feature they've released, I believe that's money too. Every new thing seems to cost money, which I'm not a massive fan of. And I know it's an expensive thing, and you might be saying, well, you spent thousands on it anyway, so what do you care? But I like things to have value for me. I only spend money if I see the value, and I don't like subscription-based stuff. So that part of it isn't for me. So the question remains then, would I still buy this? Knowing now what I know about it in terms of the positives and the negatives, would I still buy it? Absolutely, I'd still buy it. I still love the accuracy. I love the ease of use. I know about the little negatives now, and they're just kind of things that are going to happen along the way that you learn about. They're not deal breakers. This thing is the perfect choice for me. I use it a lot for my personal practice. I use it a lot for obviously this channel. So for me, perfect. If you are in a different situation though, this might not be the unit for you. The cost is a big barrier for a lot of people, okay? If you are not someone that wants to practice a lot, if you're not someone that wants very specific kind of high intensity practice, then you should question whether or not you need this. There are lots of other units, like Rapsodo, Mevo Plus, that sort of thing. They do the job almost, and I mean like within kind of 5%, they do it almost as well as this, but they do it much cheaper. And, FlightScope have been developing new units. They've got a new unit out now. The Mevo Plus is getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. I think if it was a year ago, and I was buying it now, I would have a much harder time deciding between this and something from FlightScope. So yeah, I would still buy this. But for you, people thinking about whether or not to buy this or not, take into consideration, is the extra cost worth what you're getting for here? If you're limited space like me, then yes. Otherwise, maybe not. But hopefully, me going over all those positives and negatives has helped you. Hopefully the videos that YouTube is suggesting up here will be of use to you. YouTube thinks so, so maybe give them a click, okay? And I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.